I'm a pastor, an artist, an author, a scholar, and a conversation. Welcome to Chastfest with Kenneth. Hello, welcome to another episode of Chatfest with Kenneth. It has been a few months since I recorded. Hey, I am working on my dissertation, so time has to be managed accordingly and appropriately. But at least, hey, I am now doing this, so let's go. For today's episode, I really want to discuss fatherhood. Yes, fatherhood. Yes, of course, we know the tradition. Motherhood is celebrated, and there's so many books about motherhood and the heroism of motherhood. And I feel that fathers do not get as much celebration as they should. And when they do, the celebration is always about a warrior father, or the father that was successful, the father that attained this and attained that. For this episode, I really want to focus on, I guess, for lack of a better word, the negatives of fatherhood that should be celebrated that really isn't. I'm sure you will get the gist of it once I go down the list. The first one is learning from mistakes rather than perfection. The old model of things is to have this model of perfection of what a dad, prerequisite of what a dad is supposed to do, or your check boxes. He's supposed to do this, he's supposed to do that, he's supposed to do this, he's supposed to do that. So subconsciously there is this pressure to attain this level of perfection. And there's no other place to see the failure of this model than the syndrome of pastor's children. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that, where they say pastor's children are usually very promiscuous or very lawless. And why is that? It's because there's an image of perfection that has been sold to the kids, how there's a standard that they're supposed to operate by because they are pastor's children, and the pressure of having to live up to that expectation often causes them to falter, to crumble. So the first point is learning from learning from mistakes rather than perfection. And honestly, I did have a conversation with my dad, and I found out that I learned a lot of things when we sat down as two men and he was vulnerable to me and began revealing his struggles and issues and weaknesses. And I learned a whole lot from that, because I actually could say, oh, wait a minute, I can identify this pattern in myself. Oh, I'm not crazy. Oh, it's just, oh, this is how he did it, and this is what he did. Now I can do better. I can do this alternative. Did not know that reality until I had that sit down with him and had that conversation. And even now, I still occasionally go back and I reflect on the conversation to identify patterns and behaviors. Second one is the security in being an imperfect father. As a father, you have to learn to be secure with your imperfection. Because if you're not, then you are going to try and attain this facade, this illusion that's been peddled, or the sitcom dad, how he does everything perfect, has the perfect advice in every situation, he knows everything to say, and now you're trying to model your life after that, and doesn't work. And the funny thing is, kids always see through the facade. The unspoken things that parents struggle with, kids instinctively perceive it. So while the father is busy trying to sell this image of perfection, the kid can pick up on the underlying issues, the underlying things. So in this day and age, we need to grow up and own up to our mistakes. If you look in the mirror and you are at peace with your flaws, then you can talk to your child regarding those, and can be a learning moment, because it definitely was for me when I did a mind meld with my dad, and we were like two men just talking, and I said I want to ask basically anything I wanted to ask. I was going to, and he was like, "Go right ahead, take your best shot." And I took my best shot, asked everything I wanted to. No conversation was off the table. Even though he is gone, I look back at those conversations, picking up the phone, calling him, and just going, and he would just listen. And sometimes he would say, "You know what? I have no idea. I don't know what to say." And I was content with that, as opposed to trying to make up some answer or trying to measure up to this avatar of knowledge. Another one is affirmation versus validation. This one should be an obvious point. Men often run towards what validates and affirms. Anything that's going to point at insecurities or is going to highlight where they fell short, instinctively there will be a recoiling from it. That's why I'm sure in relationship manuals, it is already a known fact, like, oh, the nagging wife who is constantly pointing at her husband's flaws is directly or indirectly chasing him off to the arms of somebody else who is going to create a place of solace for him to come in and find a resting place and find safety. Same thing with sons and fathers. Sons that are constantly pressuring the dad subconsciously create a recoil in the dad from towards them. It's not a conscious thing. It's a more of a pressure thing, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that. A better approach will be affirm. Affirm where his strengths are. Affirm what he has done, because yes, every father, even the bad ones, there has to be some good thing that they have done. Focus on that, and that actually creates a place of a bond. It creates an avenue of commonality where it enables the dad even do better. There is this doing better from being trusted, doing better from a place of safety, not doing better from a pile of expectations that have been placed and responsibilities that have been laid out that the dad is being coerced to measure up to. And then I think a final one is allowing your children to see your struggle and how you overcome. Again, the old model is a father is struggling to pay bills. You hide it from your kids. You don't want your kids to know that you struggle to pay bills. So you just make it seem like it was so effortless. And so the kids grow up thinking, oh, I lived in a house where everything was perfect and everything was provided. And then they graduate into real world. And then these kids, especially the sons, begin to struggle like, okay, why am I struggling with paying bills? My father did it so effortlessly. Why can't I seem to do it? Or I can't measure up. No. One thing I am learning is I show my struggle and I show the resources that I use in my struggle. So when my son goes through his struggle, he has a paradigm to operate with. He already has a template like, oh, I have seen my dad use these tools to for battle. I've seen my dad use these tools in a moment of struggle, and these tools worked. This one didn't work. That one worked. That's what we do as fathers. In the animal kingdom, the father goes hunting. The skills to hunt, the skills to operate as a predator, the kid learns it in seeing the dad, and he sees the failure, sees the successes. How does an animal know which plant is dangerous, which one is not? Because predators, they all go, when they're sick, they eat herbs. How do they know this? Knowledge that's transpired or transferred to their offspring. It's only in humans that we have this obsession with perfection, have this obsession with seeing only the good, and oh, we don't want our offspring to know that, oh, there's a struggle here. And so, and that's actually the template to generational issues going from one generation to the next. Because daddy did it this way, and so son comes along and does it exactly the same way. Give you an example. I think Abraham, when he went to whatever city he went to, and the king was there, and he decided, oh, I'm not going to tell this king that Sarah is my wife, because if I do, they will kill me and take her. So I'm just going to lie that she's my sister. Guess what? Isaac turned around and did exactly the same thing in his own time. So the cycle of behaviors, fathers are directly and indirectly responsible to set the stage for it not to continue down the next generation. And sons too are, especially when they have come of age, should own up to helping dads in relationships. Because personally, I believe that sons can be more accepting of the failures of dad. I know for me, when I had when I was younger, or I had all this trepidation towards my dad, like, oh, he was this, he was that, he was this, he was that. And then I became older, and then I got to know him, and of course, knowing him from having experienced the trauma of life, I could understand a lot of things from his point of view. I can understand a lot of things, a lot of pressures that he put himself under, that he was trying to attain. A lot of things that, insecurities that he felt, oh, my son is going to judge me. No. That's unnecessary pressure to put on in a relationship between two people, regardless of who it is with. So hopefully this point can be things to learn from, and of course, as always, support. Need all the support we can get. Like, comment, ask questions. Hey, if you oppose something I say, or you think I could have said it better, comment. But again, thank you for all your support, and